Welcome to a little series called Back to Basics, and in this little series I'll be explaining how to do a few basic makeup techniques like skin, brows, the perfect smoky eye, a perfect red lip, or whatever you guys want to see. So in this tutorial today I'll be doing a very basic skin step the way I would do it on set. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. First, we're going to start off with the perfect prep, because sometimes on set you get skin that is not very optimal for a perfect makeup application. So the first thing I would like to do when I get my model is to exfoliate her skin. Now, don't do this to anyone who is prone to a very sensitive or reddening skin, but for any girl that is used to a little bit of skincare, then you can go in with this step. So the first step I like to take is exfoliate with Paula's Choice 2% BHA liquid. Now this is an old packaging. If you are looking for this online, then you can find it in a black version now. Just apply a tiny bit onto a cotton pad and then gently wipe the solution over the face. Now, the parts that I usually concentrate on are the parts on the nose, around the nose, maybe even the chin area if they have a few blemishes like I do, and just use a rotating motion. And keep it very gentle because the solution will do its job. And I prefer this over exfoliating wipes like the one from Kiko, for example, which are perfect for lips, by the way. Alright, next up is taking care of the skin, so make sure you moisturize it really well. But what I love to do, I'm not going to explain about what kind of products, that is something you need to figure out on your own, and the kind of solutions you really love on a skin, and do you want it dewy, do you want it matte, or whatever. But the one thing I do want to recommend is to give the face a little bit of a massage, and it is just easiest to do it with your fingers. You also have the rollers, but I really love to feel what I'm doing to the skin, and I can apply the amount of pressure that I want, which is a little bit more difficult to feel with a roller. Just grab any moisturizer you love to work with, divide it over the face, and then what I like to do is stand behind the model and just work it all in an upwards motion. One of the things you need to remember is that the more skincare you apply, the more your next product will be diluted. So do you want a really full coverage base? Then maybe not use as much skincare and just keep it to a very light texture. And if you want a very, very sheer and glowy base, then go in with a little bit more. On to concealer. One of the things I love to work with, or one of the products I really love to work with, is a cream base concealer, because you can blend it into the skin beautifully, and it is more about keeping that texture instead of that longevity. I keep my cream concealers in a Muji box, and it is perfect. It does not run over to the other side. One important thing with cream concealers is you do not leave them out in the sun. So at this point I start focusing on the areas that need a little bit more coverage. Not the pimples yet, just the parts that need a little bit more coverage, like the rims of the nose, the under eye area, or any area that might need a little bit more coverage. Now there is one main difference between the left and the right part of these concealers, and that is a more yellow based row and a more rosy based row. I use specific colors for different areas, so I would need a little bit more of a peachy undertone for the under eye area, while I need a little bit more yellow to cover the redness in specific areas. Now I like to use a brush because it keeps the product used to a absolute minimum. Now oftentimes you get different undertones in one face. So for example, I have a little bit of yellow around the mouth, so I use a little bit of that rosy undertone to pull it more towards the color in the cheek. Now one of the things that are very important when doing makeup for a photo shoot is that you work with light and shadow. So for example, if you want the under eye ridges to be a little bit less prominent, you go in with a lighter shade to be able to lift those up and make it look like it is more smooth. The one thing we are doing after this is to spot conceal any of the red blemishes. Now, if you are working with a photographer, then ask the man or the woman what they prefer, to leave it open and visible so they can Photoshop it easier, or if they want it covered so they have a little bit more of a blank canvas to work with. In this case, I'm going to show you how to do it when you do want to cover them. Now, pimples have a red undertone, so you need something a little bit more yellow to counteract the red. And I'm taking a somewhat thicker eyeliner brush to apply the product. So let's start with this mother right here. I went a little bit too dark. Now with this product, a little goes a long way. And I usually just start eliminating them one by one and see where it takes me, while keeping in mind that we want to use as little product as possible. Now, once you've eliminated all those spots, you have a very clean canvas to work on. Now, 9 times out of 10, a photographer will work with its lighting to create all the shapes in the face. So in that case, start off with saying, okay, could we test it out on the screen, please? Can I see what it looks like? And if you do need a little bit of extra shaping, you go back into it. But this is it. If you would need a little bit of powder, I would advise you to use a blotting powder. Lightly dab it on with a, you know what, I'll just do it. One thing you want to remember is do not drag the brush anywhere, just dab it on. And one thing I love to see is when you use the brush to roll the powder into place. Now, it is important to remember that you want that shine in specific areas, and you want that matte feel in specific areas as well. Now look how smooth that looks, and look how you can still see that ridge. Powder will eliminate that little part in the photograph. And there you have it, my basic skin technique. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, then please send me a direct message on Instagram, comment down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.